So this video is on how to move hours in the license administrator as a manager or an administrator. So in this example, you might be wanting to move hours between keys, or you may have made an order and you may wish to assign hours to specific keys. You can get us to set it up so that's automatic. Automatic top-up exists for keys, so you can just have them automatically drag values off the server. So you can leave a pool of say 1,000 hours and have each key just drag 20 or 50 hours off when they need it. But if you're managing your own hours and want to move them between keys, this is the process that you follow. So you're logged in, you choose Setup, Customers, and then you find the customer that you're managing. We choose temporary license in this example, and it's adjust temporary license time. From here, if you have some hours in your unassigned section, you can just assign them to keys. So anything that's unassigned is basically, it's shared with the pool for auto top up, but it can also be manually assigned to a key. So if this, we'll pick this key down here. Actually, let's not pick one that looks like it's actually being used. Look, let's just add 50 hours to this key. So because I've got 2,000 hours in here, I can add up to 2,070 hours. If I wanted to add all of the possible remaining hours, I could do that here, and that would allow me to do that. But if I try to add more hours than I've actually got, it'll tell me that my pool is basically doesn't balance to 0. So I can't go over the number of hours that I have available to me. But I also can't just add hours to my pool either. Basically, anything that leaves me with a balance of negative in the time balance, or anything that leaves me with hours that haven't been otherwise assigned properly. So if I try to take hours off of one pool, let's just say we pick this training key here, and I subtract 5 hours off of that key. There's now 5 hours in that pool. If I remove that pool and set it to 0, I've basically pushed 5 hours up into this realm of not being assigned to any pool. That will also not allow you to continue. Basically, this time balance here must be 0. So if I want to move those 5 hours between pools, as long as that balance ends up 0 and each of these pools have a balance of greater than 0, then I will be allowed to make changes, and it'll just prompt me for a reason. So I'm just moving hours between pools. The more information you put in those reasons, the more useful the information will be. The only other thing that you need to be aware of when moving hours between keys is that if I take this key, for example, which hasn't been synchronized in almost 1.5 years, I can remove all 53 hours and whatever number that is, and if I copy that number, paste it in here and put a negative in, that will drag that key back to 0. However, if this key is found and synchronized, what may happen is that this key itself may end up being in what's called negative balance. So the flow would be here. I'm going to take those 53 hours and give them to a person who's actually using the key. Let's say this training room one here is actually using those hours. So I'm going to right click the training room. I'll just go 53 hours, take that number. I'll add 53 hours to that key. What's going to happen is with that key is that will get its 135 hours. That's no problem. But what will happen is if that key gets found in the future, then the existing hours may actually drop to be less than 0. And that'll mean that basically the next time you come into the license administrator that you'll be unable to make any changes until you top the balance up. So if you are moving hours between keys, just be aware you do set yourself up into a position where that key may end up in negative time, because the keys only require to touch base with the server once every 35 days. So any time used in between that, so the 35 you synchronize, you've now got 35 days to use hours. The next time you synchronize, it's going to take those hours that are used back off the server. That ends up less than 0. That'll be allowed. That user, your licenses will continue to work, but the next time you try to change anything in the license administrator, you'll be forced to make that balance back up. If that's not clear, please let me know. But otherwise, that's it. That's how you would move hours between keys in Spryre.